Wait. If there's a police officer or an ICE agent whose picture is put up in a group chat on Facebook that is about ICE, and it says, let's expose this person, somebody tell me who he is, where he lives.
Okay, I'm going to be real with you. That's not doxing.
You think that's not doxing?
It's definitely not.
You don't think that that's putting their lives at risk?
No, doxing is when you actually paste somebody's personal identifiable information, PII, which is an email address, or phone number, or a physical address.
That's conservative Ben Ferguson calling out the liberal shills on CNN for once again downplaying the danger of Democrats exposing the names and addresses of their opponents online. Because when the left can't win on facts, they twist definitions until even danger sounds virtuous. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and if you're looking for the best bits of establishment media without sitting through hours of liberal propaganda, you've come to the right place. Because it looks like Democrats and their media friends have reached new levels of selective outrage. I mean, the same people who once justified riots, violent attacks on their opposition, and routine incendiary rhetoric are now crying foul over private texts from conservatives. Here's CNN losing its mind because J.D. Vance didn't bend the knee and issue an apology to them for a group of young men trivializing the sacred cows of progressivism.
That if you are about to be in an elected office in Virginia and you've said things that are worse than this, and you've said that the kids deserve to be hurt, that two things can be true at the same time. Republicans, young Republicans saying this, they should absolutely have a consequence.
But it's not just young Republicans, Ben.
But Democrats have defended an individual who said that family members should die.
Keith, is that what you're saying? Is that this is representative of the Republican Party?
I am saying exactly that. The Republican Party in the past 10 years has moved down the road of racism. So it's not surprising that you see the open embrace of Nazism, of anti-Semitism, of homophobia, of transphobia, of sexism, of attacks on immigrants and xenophobia, because the Republican Party under Donald Trump, has doubled down on its racism.
All right, and
I'm glad to see a number of Republicans step up and condemn them as well, because they're terrible. But I do think to say that this somehow justifies that Jay Jones did nothing wrong and should still be the nominee for Attorney General.
You just did exactly the same thing that J.D. Vance did, except for the fact that you denounced the words, but you immediately pivoted to,
I wouldn't have brought him up if we weren't talking about it.
But you immediately pivoted to a Democrat instead of focusing on the fact that this is a pattern. The saddest thing about this story is that it was not the least bit surprising to me. I mean, I don't think anyone who I know who's familiar with where the Republican Party has been going the past decade or so is the least
Hitler or fascist.
Well, there's a whole history of racism in the Republican Party. It started in 19.
You guys had slavery. We were against it.
Okay, let me
The Democratic Party literally was a party of slavery. So let's not act like there's not a history. If you want to talk history, slavery is the Democratic Party.
Why don't we just listen to you then? Tell us about Black history.
On that one, every American should be able to tell you about it. You don't have to be black to say that the Democratic Party was in favor of slavery, the party of slavery.
Ben, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me just say that.
I do. It wasn't the Republican Party. History is there.
You know, the fact of the matter here is that those were private texts and no one on the left is owed an apology. We're done with that performative nonsense, and we know that liberals only use racism and fascism to dehumanize and silence opposition, paving the way for them to justify threats of violence. I mean, we saw what they did and said about Charlie Kirk. And let's not forget that data from the Center for Strategic and International Studies shows left-wing extremist incidents are on the rise. The same Democrats clutching pearls over private GOP texts had nothing to say when their own candidate Jay Jones sent disturbing texts about committing violence. In fact, the media barely even devoted any time to discussing it at all. J.D. Vance nailed it by refusing to play their bad faith game. This isn't about morality, it's about control. And the left's hypocrisy is backfiring hard as young men increasingly abandon Democrats.
And you're acknowledging that they took the entire group down.
Yes, because the entire group was dangerous to the lives of ICE agents.
So because that includes people who were not doing what you described. Because I'm not disputing that maybe there were some people putting out the names of ICE agents, which, by the way, I am not sure is considered doxing, right? If you're a law enforcement agent, your name...
It's personally identifiable information, so that's your address, your email address, your phone.
The name of a law enforcement officer or agent is not
Where does this guy live, and who is he?
Is
doxing
No, it's not. It's not from a legal perspective, and it's not from a content moderation perspective.
I'm saying it's dangerous.
I'm not saying it isn't, but it's not considered doxing when it comes to these policies.
Then you're going to have a different
let me
definition,
just
because when you're
add one more
advocating
thing.
for
Ben, there's an
exposing...
actual legal definition of
actually a
doxing.
definition
It's not up to you, or
and not to mention,
it's not a subjective definition.
If somebody was doing that to you or anyone in your family,
They do it to me. They have
and that's why I'm defending it. I'm saying this is wrong, and you
just
can't
give me 1 second.
You know, this is peak leftist doublespeak, pretending that posting photos and identifying details of ICE agents isn't doxing because it lacks an email address. This is more of the left pretending they don't understand simple things. The definition of doxing is publicly exposing someone's private information, like their name, home address, phone number, workplace, or family details, without consent, usually with malicious intent. The DOJ stepped in precisely because those posts endangered law enforcement, and Meta removed them for that reason. No one cares about the BS semantics that these liberal shills are trying to peddle, and I imagine if someone tracked liberal journalists or politicians like that, the same people would call it terrorism. But when it's ICE, suddenly it's a gray area. The left's fake concern for safety only applies to their side, and voters, especially young men, are seeing through it. But let me know what you think. Are Democrats' semantic games and selective outrage finally catching up to them with younger voters? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.